Best and worst moments you've seen at locals. Story 1. Worst. Fat jerk of a douchebag pushes a kid to take the last seat at a table. Best. His opponent gets up, picks up the kid, and gives him his seat. Story 2. Worst. At an OTS store, an adult stands in the middle of tables and yells to a kid, "Let's blimmin' go! Get your beep!" Just made a bad scene for everyone there, and there was 30 minutes left. Like, chill out, asshole. Best. At a different non-OTS store, an older kid gave my nephew a playset of hand traps and helped him with some ruling with some friendly duels. Really cool day all around. Now, you see, this is really cool. Like, why would you yell kids for playing the game? Kudos to him for just calling him an asshole. And honestly, I'm happy for the end of the day that some kid gave him some advice on how to play the games with the rulings. Good God, I could have used that when I was a kid. Story 3. Worst. People making fun of a special needs player behind their back. Best. Watching a game between Zombie Mill and Prank Kids. Prank Kids player was almost out of cards. Zombies pretty much had to pass turn and deck them out. Instead, the zombie player decides to attack because why not, right? Prank Kids plan activates in graveyard and every Prank Kids card gets shuffled back into the deck. Prank Kids end up winning in time. Game 1 took the entire round. The entire shop was watching and cheering. It was the most anime game I've ever seen. Well, that was interesting. So they made fun of a special needs player, and then I presumed that the special needs player was the Prank Kids and basically won. Can't believe he attacked and basically won the game out of, well, I wouldn't say heart of the cards, but pure sheer luck. Definitely the most anime game you've ever seen. Story 4. Worst. Had a kid, 10 or 11 years, who clearly played very casually. Bridge shuffled this dude's true Draco deck back when Diagram and Masterpiece were still like $40 to $50 each. The guy understandably freaked out, but doing so went a bit over the top and really upset the kid. It just caused a whole huge scene and killed the mood for the rest of the tourney. Best. There's a kid, about 14 at the time, who goes regularly to locals. When he first started, he was struggling to learn the game and even get a single win. Good kid, and most everyone is always really nice and willing to help him out or give him advice. Now he's constantly going 3-1 and even went undefeated for the first time not too long ago. Feels good, man. Story 5. Just last week, I caught the very end of a match at my mostly casual locals after I finished my match. A friend of mine and I watched as one guy was playing Salamangreats, the extremely budgeted structure-only version against Blue Eyes. Found out that one of them didn't understand the concept of goes in match and the other one didn't bother to read it to double-check. My friend and I were both like, "Wait, what the hell?" when Blue Eyes guys tries to summon alternative and destroy it immediately for no obvious reasons. Apparently, Salad Boy activated it and said that you have to declare one attribute, and any monsters that aren't that attribute get destroyed. And the other guy went along with it, so he calls win against Blue Eyes, who of course loses as time runs out. Fortunately, there wasn't too much bad blood since they were friends. It was still super awkward since the game state was well past accepted. Salad Guy seemed to generally be unaware of his mistakes until it was explained, and everyone quickly came to an agreement that Blue Eyes guy should have won. Read your cards, kids. Yeah, it's not that hard, kids. Just read the cards. Sure, it's a bit wordy, but once you read it once or twice, you kind of understand. And FYI, whoever is watching this who doesn't understand Goes in Match is just a card that means you can only control one type of attribute monster. So if you have multiple, choose one, the rest go to the graveyard. Your opponent doesn't choose, you only choose one. Okay? Good. Moving on. Story 6. Worst. Having this one guy stack his deck so that he could open Exodia on me 2 games in a row. Followed by him bragging to all the other players that he opened Exodia, but he also was quite open about he cheated twice. Best. Helping this one guy build a Phantom Knight deck before the local began and seeing him win with it. He was pretty new to the game and a lot of guys were giving him bad advice on his deck to mess with him, so a couple of us went over and helped the guy make a really good deck. And he ended up winning that night over some of the guys who were making fun of him. It was brilliant. Yeah, I don't like Exodia decks because honestly, they're nothing but solitaire, but the fact that this guy just went one step further and made a whole deck where he basically stacked it where he would draw the pieces every single time, well, not every single time, but twice, it's just Well, just scummy in my opinion, and just really proves how Exodia players are simply the worst type of players. Also, kudos to him for helping that Phantom Knight player, especially since he's new. You gotta not like those guys who just try to mess with the new players so that they constantly lose so they nab a new, an easy win. So yeah, kudos to the guy. I'm glad he won a good games, especially when new. Story 7. Best moment was I watched a guy yesterday need to hit somebody for 25,000 in burn damage as they entered time. He was using dinos and the other guy was play pendulums. He ended up using Gagaga Cowboy to do burn for 800 linking into Clockwork Taker using Cowboy and some other card. Then special summoned a second UTC XYZ into Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon and burning him for 2,000 and winning. I genuinely couldn't believe he did that. Haha. Worst. Be a really young kid packed a Boral Sword and a dude instantly offered him 80 quid. He said yeah, as the guy was getting the money sorted, the kid must have changed his mind and he left the shop. I thought the card is gonna be totally ruined soon, lol. It's not that bad, but I've not been going too long, lol. Okay, first one, basically another anime win. Second one, it's not really that bad, and honestly, maybe the kid just changed his mind. Maybe he liked the card too much and thought maybe $80 wasn't worth it. I certainly would have changed my mind if they had a card like that. And honestly, $80 for that time? I think Borrowsoap was a lot more expensive. I could be wrong, but I could be right. Either way, yeah, not the worst moments, honestly. Story 8. These are both from the only 2 locals I've ever went to. I started playing around half a year ago, and when I participators in that locals, I was made 1 month into the game. Best. Seeing how supportive some people are when they realize that someone doesn't know any rulings of the game. Worst. There was a guy playing a pretty competitive BA deck. When he started getting bodied by my Despot deck, he tried to summon Hydralander with 2 ogres in his graveyard. I don't know why you would try to cheat against a completely new player, but it was really satisfying actually win the set against him after that. Yeah, some people are just sore losers, and I bet some people couldn't believe, how could I be losing to a local? My deck's better than his deck. Chill, dude, it's a card game. Maybe he's just got a better deck than you. Who knows? Not every deck can counter every deck. Some decks have weaknesses, and maybe his deck was better at dealing with your deck's weaknesses. So yeah, completely childish of that player, and honestly, anybody who gets angry at losing at a newbie. Maybe it's just beginner's luck, or maybe the newbie actually picked it up pretty quick. Who knows? Just don't get angry. Story 9. Best. Having people just willing to help out other players. Pretty much everyone at my locals is willing to give cheap stuff like MST and Mirror Force to new players, usually kids, and help with advice on deck building and such. Sometimes things get heated in the middle of a game, yeah, but overall my locals pretty much everyone is super nice and willing to help out when they can. Worst. Player A is going about stuff he's wanting to get for his deck, and some stuff that's purely collection purposes. One of the things he's really excited about, though, is a set of Dark Magician Girls Oricus that are basically H cards. Player B points out that he can't bring them to locals. It's very much a family store, and we have kids that play from time to time. And that's having P in public. Can get the cops called on him. Player A takes offense to this, gets in Player B's face and says, F the police. And I swear, I thought they were going to start throwing fists and I was just incredibly uncomfortable, and the rest of the time they were both there. Luckily, Player A doesn't really show up all that often anymore, and I believe he's actually moving out of state soon, so we won't have to deal with him then. Player A and B really don't like each other, though, since Player A is also super homophobic/transphobic, and we have a few players who fall into some category of LGBT stuff, and is unfortunately known to spout off incredibly uninformed and or baseless nonsense from time to time, though even then he's like one warning away from getting banned anyway, since he's gotten several warnings for various things from the owner when he catches things. Oh my gee, I can't even comprehend such a player. Who would bring such cards like that? Those cards are more like for collectibles, where you basically just show off to say, hey, I've got this incredibly fan-made card, ho 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 ho. Not something you actually use in an actual duel, since they are not sanctioned by Konami. My god, and even then, the children? He wanted to bring those places where children frequent? Is he mad? I'm so glad that he's moving away. In fact, I wish he got banned in the first place and then moved away. Honestly, people like him is what gives Yu-Gi-Oh players like us a bad name most of the time. God, please, don't be like him. Thank you for so much for watching, my hunters. If you have your best and moments at any of your locals, please comment them down below because I'd love to read them. Also, if you haven't and watched this far, please like and subscribe because having that will basically be my best thing ever. So thank you all my hunters. Also, check out my Discord and, well, my Twitter if you want to keep up with what my posts are, or my YouTube channels, or whatever streams I've got. I'm currently playing Nier Automata in celebration of the Nier anime, so please check it out on my Twitch. Links are in the description. Thank you, my hunters, and may the good blood guide your way.